this video, we're going to be going over the distance calibration and the calibration for the S1 jaw, along with some decoding and cutting of some test keys. First, when your machine is on, you're going to be looking at your screen here. You're going to go on the left side and look for where it says calibration and tap on it. It's going to bring you to this new page. And on the screen here, you'll see the very first one at the top is the distance calibration. So there's two options, S1D or S2A. If you're going to calibrate, you only need to do one of these two options. So today we're going to be doing S1D, but if you'd like to and you have both jaws, you can do both. So if you tap on S1D, it's going to show you this picture to kind of guide you on how to clamp the jaw and get everything all positioned for the calibration. As you can see right here, we need to switch out our cutter for a decoder, and then we need to use the calibration block and insert it to the middle red line. It says here, use two decoders and make sure jaw is clear of debris, and that is going to be before we start the calibration. So now we're going to grab our jaw and we're going to go ahead and slide it in. Make sure it is nice and leveled. We don't want it to be at an angle. And then we're going to lock it in place. As you can see, I already have the D side facing upwards. And we have a calibration block here that we're going to use to insert. But first, we're going to take our 2.5 millimeter Allen wrench. Should have came with your accessories. And we're going to take out our cutter from the right side. So just put it in, turn to the left, and then we're going to slide out our cutter, and we're going to set it to the side for now. So now with our second 1.0 millimeter decoder, we're going to go ahead and insert this and secure it in place with the set screw. Now they are both in place, about, and even though they're not the same exact height, it doesn't matter as long as they're both all the way up in the slots. So once that's all secured, we're going to take our calibration block, and as mentioned before on the screen, you will see we're going to insert it into the top slot here. So if you're looking with this a little bit more closed, you can kind of see it looks like there might be two slots, but we want it on the uppermost because we want it right underneath this screw hole here. So inserting it the long ways, you can have this part facing up or down, it doesn't matter. I usually put it up, but you can do either way. We're going to insert it long ways, and I usually use my fingers here to kind of make sure that it's staying straight and leveled while it's resting on this little bridge. And you're going to line up the tip to the second red line. And then tighten up the screw on the side, this little orange knob, until you meet resistance. And then you can't move this at all. And that is good. So now back up to the screen here, we're going to go ahead and just reference, double check. We have our two decoders in, lined up to the second red line. Tightened up, no debris on the jaw surface, hit OK. Calibration successful, hit OK. Now we're going to move to our automobile key jaw here. You'll see we have four options, and there's four sides of the jaw. So we're going to do each one of these. If you don't do one of these, then you won't be able to cut the keys properly on this side that you didn't do. So we're going to first start with the D side since we already have it up here. Go ahead and tap on S1D, and you'll see the picture is exactly the same. So it shows 2 decoders and it's up to the middle red line, same position as we just had it. So we're going to go ahead and hit OK and start it right away. Calibration successful, hit OK. Now we're going to move on to the C side. And you can do these in any order that you want. It doesn't have to be the same order. This is the way I prefer, as long as you get all the sides done. All right, so now we're on the C side here. And if you look back up at your screen, we're gonna tap on where it says S1C, shows 2 decoders. You're always gonna have 2 decoders for your calibration. And you can see it has us line it up to the second red line on the surface of the jaw. So we're going to tighten up the jaw a little bit here just so we can get it a little bit more snug with the block. And you are going to insert it again in the top slot just like we did on the C side, or on the D side, sorry. And you're going to line up the tip to the second red line. Now, it doesn't have to be exact, but you do want to get it as close as possible. And at the same time, you do want to try to get it as leveled as you can. That way, it is not crooked in the jaw. And once it looks pretty good there, you can go ahead and get it curved in nice and good with the orange knob. Go back up to your screen. Make sure your jaw is clear of debris, it's fine, and hit OK. Calibration successful, hit OK. And now we're going to go over to the S1B side. Take out your block and loosen up the jaw here. And then you're going to flip it over. And we have B side facing up, C towards us. Now if we go back up to our screen here, tap on S1B, we'll notice that the picture is a little bit different now. Instead of putting it in on the B side, we're going to put it in on the C. So the block is going to go inwards onto the C side, and it's going to be pointing outwards towards us. So looking back at our jaw here, we're going to take it like this. So long end pointing outwards, short end pointing up. And you're going to put it in at the very bottom, resting up against this ledge here, and push it all the way in until it can't go in anymore. Tighten up the orange knob, secure it in place, can't move, good to go. Hit OK to start the calibration. Calibration successful, hit OK on the screen, and now we're going to go over to S1A. So go ahead and tap on the picture, and you can see it's similar to the B side that we just did. So the A side is facing up, and then the B is towards us, but we're going to be putting in on the B side here. So look back at our jaw here, we're going to loosen up the jaw and remove the calibration block. And when it's loosened up enough, we're going to be able to turn it over. And of course, make sure nothing can be in the way with the shavings. Just a quick brush off. And if we look back up at our picture here, you kind of see it's at the bottom edge and it's in the very innermost section. So looking back down at our jaw, we're going to put it in like this, same direction. So short end facing upwards, long end pointing out towards us. And you can see there's 2 ridges here. So this outer ridge right here is where you would put the key itself, but we need to put it in the innermost. The reason why is because the jaw needs to be this width apart. So if you look closely, you can see I'm putting it in towards the bottom, kind of line it up with this B section at the bottom. And then you're going to just tighten it in place. Make sure you can't move it. You don't want to over tighten it because you can make the jaw go inwards, and you could possibly script out this knob over here. But as long as it's secure and you can't move it, it's good to go. Back up on the screen, we're going to hit OK and start the calibration. Calibration successful, we're going to hit OK. And now we're done calibrating the S1 Automotive Jaw. We can go ahead and remove our calibration block, set it to the side. And we're going to take out our decoder on the right side here. We're going to put back in our cutter. You should be putting back in your 2.0 millimeter cutter. This is the standard size, and it's going to be used with most of your keys. If you're not sure, you can look for the engraving on the side of the cutter, and it will tell you either 2.0 or it might say 1.5, for example. So you just install the cutter all the way up as high as it can go, just like we did with the decoder, and then lock it in place with a set screw. Now we're going to go back to our home page. You can either hit the back button at the top left or the home button at the top right. And we're going to go ahead and cut a Toyota high security key. So I'm going to go ahead and go into Automobile. We're going to go into Toyota. And we're going to go into Camry. And we are going to select the option for 2018 to 2020, card 872. And now we see this profile here. It shows us on the right side a line, and it shows a jaw picture. If you press on the magnifying glass, it will enlarge in the picture. So we see that we need to put this key in on the B side of the jaw. So we're still on the A side. I'm going to go ahead and flip the jaw over. And now we have B side facing up. I'm taking our original key, and I'm going to not put it in the innermost section, but the next level up. And I'm going to clamp it so that it is lined up to the second red line. Just like it showed in the picture. Now I can go ahead and go to the decode button, the bottom left. Make sure round is turned off. And we're going to go ahead and hit the decode button. It says, please use 1.0 millimeter decoder, which we have installed on the left side, as it should be. Hit OK. Make sure jaw is clear of debris. Go ahead and do a quick brush off here and hit OK. So now the decode has finished. You look on your screen here, you'll see it shows the cuts on the left side and on the right side of the key, the top and the bottom. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take out our original key. So just loosen up the knob and pull it out, set it to the side. And we have our test key here completely uncut that we're going to go ahead and cut from this decode. Same way we just did it, up to the second red line and tighten it. Now I usually put my fingers here like this to make sure that the key is leveled and it's sitting flat. We don't want it at an angle or anything, or loose. Now we are going to go ahead and look at the cut button here. And we are going to verify it shows 2.0 millimeter cutter, which we have installed. It's up to the second line on the B side. We're going to go ahead and press the cut button now. Hit OK. No debris on the jaw surface. Hit OK. Okay, now that the key is done cutting, we're going to go ahead and brush off any shavings. So if we leave any shavings on the jaw here, any piles, or just even something that, is a good clump, it can cause issues with decoding and cutting, could potentially cause your cutter or decoder to break as well. So be careful and make sure you get a good brush off here on the surface. Now, with these high security laser style keys, they're cut on both sides. So we're going to loosen this up, brush off in here as well. And then we're going to flip it over, line it up the same way to the second red line, tighten it back up. And we don't need to re-decode the original key. We're just going to immediately go back to the cut button, hit cut again, hit OK, and then start. Now that the cutting is done on the second side, just brush off the shavings again. And you do want to be careful with your shavings too, because you don't want it to clog up and get inside the jaw. We're going to go ahead and take this key out, brush off the actual key. You don't want any shavings just remaining on the key blank itself, otherwise it could cause issues with the locks. Once everything seems good, we're going to go ahead and grab our test lock here. So we have a test lock here for the Toyota key. As you can see, we have our original test key. And we're going to just take our key that we just cut. You can see cut on both sides. We're going to insert it into the lock. All the way inserted. And as you can see on the bottom here, it does turn. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to cut this Toyota key. This one is a TR47 instead of the high security laser style. It's an edge cut double-sided key. So now we're going to go and hit the back button. And instead of 2018 to 2020, we are going to go down to 2002 to 2017 with card 903. So just a quick brush off on the surface of the jaw. We are going to flip the jaw over to the D side. So now the D is facing upwards. This is the side we're going to be using. So if you look back up at your screen, I know we're going to be using this because of the alignment picture on the right side. We do a quick closer look. It shows we're going to line it up to the middle red line with the tip of our original key. So we're going to insert it again at the top slot, not the bottom one, the top. And before we do that, we're going to get our 1.5 millimeter Allen wrench, and we're going to use it with our set screw here. So if you see here, there's a set screw in this slot. If you don't have it in here, it should have came with your accessories. And we're going to use this screw to make sure that the key is leveled in the jaw. Otherwise, if you do not use set screw, there's a chance that it could be at an angle or slanted, and the cuts could come out incorrectly. So taking the original, lining it up to about the second red line. We're going to tighten down the orange knob first, and then using our 1.5 millimeter Allen wrench, we are going to tighten back down that screw. And the screw is going to push down onto the surface of the key blank. And this helps level it out. We tap off anywhere on the screen to exit from this enlargement picture. And we're going to hit the decode button and press decode. So looking back up at our screen here, we can see that we got the cuts. Now they are the same on both sides, so they'll look exactly the same. We're going to have to remove our original key now, using the Allen wrench again to loosen up the screw first. And then we will be able to loosen this up and pull the key right out. Now we're going to take our uncut key blank, and we are going to insert it the same exact way. Top slot to about the second red line here. And then tighten down the orange knob and tighten down the set screw. Now we're going to hit the cut button. Verify we have 2.0 millimeter cutter in, positioning looks good, and hit cut. So as you can see with these edge cut double-sided keys, it's going to do all your cuts at once. Unlike the other high security, you do have to flip over the key. So we're just brushing off the surface real quick. We're going to loosen up the orange knob, but remember we can't pull it out yet. With the set screw, taking our 1.5 Allen wrench. And once it's loosened up a bit here, we are able to just pull the key right out. You can see there's a little bit of shavings. Just go and brush that off real quick. Make sure you get both sides just in case. And we're going to take our test lock here. So this is our original key. And this is the key we just cut. Go ahead and insert it in all the way. And then you can see it does turn in the lock here.